Hello, YouTube. It is me, Mr. Zero, of Mr. Zero's Tower High. Coming at you! I am Mr. Zero, the clown and comic and weirdo and loudmouth idiot guy who wishes that he could rise to the level of intelligence but finds himself marred in the filth of stupidity with the rest of the stupid people. It's such a shame. I'm making a response video to a response video I made a while ago, which was a response to Mr. Ministry Man's ontological argument of the existence of God, which I didn't know that there was a name for it when he had made it. But he was talking about there's a perfect being out there who's perfect, and since he's perfect, he exists because in order to be perfect, you'd have to exist. So therefore, if God is perfect, he exists. Um, which I'm like, going, huh, huh, huh. And it turns out I'm not alone with that because I was watching these atheist tapes and right first episode, Colin McGinn, who is a philosopher and atheist from the UK, was talking to Jonathan Miller on the show on the BBC called the Atheist Tapes. Um, and he brought up the ontological argument for the existence of God, and he says that's the one argument that really seems really good and straightforward and all that because you can't argue against it. If God is perfect and perfect has to exist in order to be perfect, then God exists. Um, however, he said the problem with it all, he says when you hear it and you think about it, it doesn't seem right. And I said, that's what I thought. That's what I thought. But I had spent 50 videos trying to dispute it, and I couldn't do it. I couldn't tell why. Little did I know, I had sent comments on each one of this guy's videos, this Mr. Ministry Man's videos, saying the actual argument. Please define it. No one ever commented on this. I just wanted someone in that group who kept saying that perfection this and perfection that. Please define what perfection is. Could you define that for me? And this Colin McGinn puts in an excellent term. Define the world's most tastiest meal. If you have the tastiest meal that could ever possibly exist, what would that be? Everyone would have a different opinion on that. I mean, some people like Indian food, some people like Thai food, some people like Chinese food, some people like Indian food. Maybe some Canadians just sit there, I just like eggs and back bacon, man. And maybe some people like let's say Bert from Bert and Ernie, his perfect meal, I can tell you exactly what his perfect meal is. A nice bowl of oatmeal shared with his pigeon Bernice. Doing the ooh ooh pigeon, doing the ooh ooh pigeon. People may laugh, but he don't mind. He'll never understand the kind of fun he finds by doing the ooh ooh pigeon. So anyway, yeah. So I had made 50 videos trying to argue this perfect idea, and I never knew I couldn't do it. So in the end, I put a boxing glove on my hand and say, I am the most perfect being in the universe. Try to disprove that fool! And sent that as the response video, which I doubt he even watched. And if he had watched any of it, he probably wouldn't have taken it as a serious argument. Which it wasn't even at my most serious, I'm just being silly most times. But that was the argument I was putting forth. Dispute my perfection. He sits there, he starts out the video, are you perfect? Anyone who says they're perfect, they're lying. Because we're all flawed individuals. Which reminds me of an argument I once got with my mother regarding, Mormon doctrine, which they believe that when you die, you get a perfect body, a physical, actual, touch it, rub it, fondle it body, and it's perfect. And I asked my mom, what would the perfect body be? Maybe I'm comfortable in the body I have now. Maybe I like this. And she said, whatever the perfect body is what you want it to be. Because she got tired of me questioning. And I don't know what the perfect body would be, but I'm sure as a lot of mothers out there could agree with me, a perfect body would have at least four arms, four working arms that could easily work, and that your brain would be able to work them independently, so that you can, make the world's tastiest meal with relative ease, and you won't burn the bacon, which I'm always doing. I'm always burning the bacon because I don't have enough arms. I only have two. These two pathetic arms with these chubby little digits on them. They never work right. I get them tangled up together like Gregor Samsa in the Metamorphosis. But yeah, so that was my argument, and it was just nice to see Colin McGinn, very first episode of the Atheist Tapes, Colin McGinn on there, talking about the ontological argument, which I understood what he was saying, and then he said that you can't dispute it because define the word perfection. It makes sense, but then it doesn't sound right. And I said that's the way I thought. That doesn't seem right. But how do I dispute that? And the it's in the word perfection. What the heck is the most perfect being? And he even uses the see he can't be perfectly colored because you know whatever. And I always sit there and say, how could something be perfectly good and perfectly evil at the same time? Because you can be perfectly evil, or you can be perfectly good, or you can be perfectly silly, or I'm trying to use nice words here. I want to know what the perfect turd looks like. I would love to see that and put it on a wall. Perfect turd, right next to the perfect pitch, both in baseball and in music. And then right next to that, I would like the perfect woman next to the perfect man. And then next to that, you have the perfect wife and the perfect husband, the perfect child. I mean, define all these things. What would you think? So, like, my idea of the perfect kid would be a lot different than a lot of other people's idea of the perfect kid. A lot of people say, oh, my kid would be respectful for adults, do whatever I say, and never. Then I said, well, how can they be perfect? It doesn't make them perfect thinkers. It doesn't make them perfectly, autonomous. They don't think for themselves. My daughter, I like what she has. She has a rebellious spirit in her. I hated that she uses it against me, but at the same time, it's kind of nice to know that she questions things, which is always a good sign of intelligence. Is it questioning um even authority. A lot of, and which is silly because she's a Girl Scout. You're supposed to obey authority, but she questions it all the time, especially with her mom. She questions our authority, but we say we're the ones paying the bills. You will do what we say. That's the best thing. I pay the bills. You have a job, have your own house, and you get to have your house the way you want to. And she says, "You'll never be invited to my house, Daddy." And I say, "That's fine. I don't want to go to your house." Well, maybe I want you to come to my house, Daddy. Well, maybe I want to go to your house. You know. But here we are talking about perfect kids, and I was talking about perfect God. Maybe the perfect God is like a child because children are so perfect, except they're not very tall and they're not very strong or very smart. They don't know much. They don't do much of anything. They just sit around. Is that what God is? Is just a big slobbering, whining, screaming, diaper filling, milk drinking, perfect being? I don't know. I don't know. But all I know is that God is perfect, and in order to exist, He has to be perfect. And to exist, if He doesn't exist, He's no longer perfect. And if I'm perfect, I would exist because I know I don't exist because I'm not perfect. And my, and communication!